Hello and welcome back to another video and my channel. This is Chase Lovelace here, and as I've said in past videos, I'm super into storytelling, world building, all of this kind of stuff, and one way that manifests for me is the game Minecraft, as you can see here. So I just wanted to give a tour of a past build of mine that I'm super proud of, and yeah, here we go. So this world is a multiplayer server I was on with friends from late Christmas 2019 right into and through the pandemic. There's so much history here. So we're talking about 5 years old. We're talking about half a decade. And it switched owners, and then I came into owning it, and then it finally died. So we may explore other builds on the server at some point, but today I just wanted to talk about my build. This whole thing over here was in the middle of construction, as you can see, when we stopped, so it hasn't been fully realized. It was, and then we changed it, and then we were gonna kind of revert it back. So anyway, there's a lot of history here, so there might be some weird inconsistencies. The server was called Dolphin Park. It was named by the old owner, who's a fantastic fellow and super into very aesthetic things, and he chose that name based on some old boat racing game or something, so it's a lot of fun. So, as I say, today we're gonna explore my build on this server, which I'm very proud of. It remains unfinished, but I feel like the vision of it has been relatively fully realized. So I'll start with this. Now, I will say, I don't use many tutorials, but this boat was 100% a tutorial. I think I changed some elements of it, like the different colors, wood, and whatever, stuff like that, but I don't take any credit for this boat. So, this place is called Pondtown. I was very inspired by the episode in Avatar: The Last Airbender Season 3, where they're traveling through the Fire Nation. Hello, Mr. Donkey. They're traveling through the Fire Nation and come across this really muddy backwater town, which is being poisoned by a factory. So it's really gross and dilapidated. And it is the episode where Katara dresses up as the water spirit or whatever. It's a great episode, great aesthetics, and I was like, man, I would love to build a muddy backwater like that. So first, taking a look at this dock, it looks really dilapidated. It's uneven. It's got these fences which make it look like it's collapsing in places. I'm very proud of it. I think it looks fantastic. Now, as I say, none of this was straightly ripped from tutorials except for this boat, which, I can still be proud of it even if it's from a tutorial. But in watching tons of building videos, looking up tons of builds on Pinterest, and looking up tons of non-Minecraft concept art to inspire my builds, I have definitely picked up many elements here and there that were from others. So this is just the way, Minecraft works. I am an aggregate of all of those builds which I've seen online, and the next person will add my builds to their collection, if they see it, or they could in theory. So one more thing, this whole area was not mangrove. You can see the change, or see over there, the change in color of the water, because this biome, I think, was just a regular oak biome. And I started this base before mangrove even came out. And then it came out, and I was like, dude, this is the most Pondtown looking tree ever. I love it. So I went with it. So here's the first house. This was going to be a boathouse, entry into Pondtown. You got to register and all that stuff. As you see, the brunt of the aesthetic flavor that I developed for this whole town is an uneven looking house, very rounded, very asymmetrical, because it's kind of a hovel, This one remains unfurnished, but this is the main idea here, is just this sort of uneven looking build. Now, as a quick side note, you're going to hear some squeaking. I'm just sitting in a squeaky chair here. So as I readjust here, let me try to sit still. All right, so yeah, this hovel, this boathouse, while unfurnished, is furnished with a single command block, and we were going to set up like a teleport system. I would have made that look aesthetic and hidden it or whatever, but just for now, that was going to get us around. So entering over here, this is the main gate, which was not standing initially, but looks super cool. It looks very dilapidated, you know, and I had this idea, this was reminiscent for me of an episode early in Stargate where they went to some, Stargate Atlantis, to be specific, where they went to some alien, like, I don't know, tribal alien planet of primitive folks, and it had like this cool, dilapidated looking, old looking archway. So that's what this is based on, sort of. I attached the heads of pillagers. There's a pillager banner. There's a dragon egg up there. This was like a trophy thing as well. This is the head of another player from the past. So this was the head of my old skin. Now, to be clear, I don't own this skin. I didn't own that skin. I just pulled them off the internet. So credit where credit is due, which I don't know where it's due. I don't know whose skin it is. So if I ever get that information, I'd be happy to share it. So the first building, I'm going to skip this building for the moment. The first building we're going to go to is here. This was the site of the original house that I built. I wanted something very unique. Now, this is not the original house. The original house has since been torn down because I moved all residences to a little residential district back there. So even though this stands on historical ground, it is a newer building, but it's still historical in some sense. This is called the Banner of Museums here, and these are all the banners that have been made across the server, across all time. We had different guilds, so I just wanted to hang them up here in memory because as the server switched hands, it died a couple times, you know, people became inactive, and it became a different server over time, and the core group of us, which were 3 players in total, did try to get together, and we could have kept going, but chose not to ultimately. So anyway, this is just a reminiscence room, to be honest with you, and I have so much nostalgia for this whole world, and especially for Pondtown, and I'm not even in, like, regular contact with a lot of these friends anymore, which, I don't know, makes me sad, but that's the way life works, you know? That's how so much of, real life goes. So, there's good nostalgia, good memories, all that kind of stuff. So I wanted this to look like an art gallery, as you can see, but I didn't want to use a very white material because in a dilapidated backwater, it would have looked very inconsistent. And with my aesthetic choices on the rest of the town, it would have looked very inconsistent. So I went with this stripped birch oak. I think it looks like a great primitive version of an art museum, right? And it keeps that inconsistent look that this whole village has with the walls and the structure. So I think I did a very good job on this build. Now, another element you're going to see everywhere is a lot of these 2 types of bricks, the reds with the whites and different variations therein. I wanted that to be sort of the natural terrain of Pondtown. It's got a specific look, mixing these 2 stones together, right? And so I just was wondering, well, what would it look like? I forgot this little campfire back here was here. Very cute. What would it look like if I were in this mythical, like, terrain that had these 2 types of stones naturally generated? So that's kind of what I went with. Imagine Pondtown pulling it out and just using it as is. I've even done some terraforming, you see. Pardon, I've got 1 or 2 little moments like this where it looks like these are the natural terrain, where I ripped out a little bit of the natural terrain and inserted the diorite here and andesite elsewhere. Now, I always get those 2 confused, so if I use them interchangeably, and even if I'm misusing the words, then I apologize in advance. I don't really recall which is which. I just recall what they look like, right? So, yeah, several moments like this I forget that I've done that just look fantastic, I think. So, yeah, that's kind of one of the ethoses of Pondtown. As far as infrastructure, I think these lanterns are very cute. I probably just was inspired by something on Pinterest. I think Pinterest is great for just, you can go on there and look up Minecraft ideas all day. There's just so many of these little elements here. So my favorite one is when I use the barrel here, but you can also use stripped birch, and I think having it inconsistent looks very good. One more quick note is that all of these water features are man-made, built by me. None of them were here, but I was thinking this place is called Pondtown. It should be marshy, right? So I made a bunch of these. I inserted all of this seaweed and kelp, and I've got some of these moments to make it look really active, like maybe it's a warm, muddy, marshy space, you know? So I added podzol here, I added those sea cucumbers there. Definitely the mud, I love the mud. And that, I forget what it's called. So, yeah, I'm really proud of it. I think it looks good. If I were to do it now, I may do it differently because our building styles change over time. So, yeah, anyway, I'm proud of it overall. Now let's go on into this building. It looks a little chaotic, I won't lie. If I were to really try to perfect Pondtown, I would definitely rearrange a lot of these trees. I still have them, but sometimes they're placed a little eclectically. But that's okay. So the idea behind this building is that it was going to be a restaurant, as seems obvious. I was going to have a villager back there who was a farming trader, and he's gone now. I don't know where he went, but that's okay. So the another idea behind Pondtown is that I wouldn't have a villager farm, I wouldn't have a trading center, I would have all of that naturally laid out across the town so it felt lively and natural and didn't feel like a slave trade, which villager trading centers often feel like. So you all can hear you've got this sort of wall, which I definitely got this idea online. The different stripped logs make it really match the style of Pondtown overall. But I did find it on Pinterest or something. So yeah, a lot of elements in here, as I say, you will have seen online and I will have gotten from online. So no shame in that, I think. I was definitely inspired in building this structure by Kung Fu Panda and the Noodle House that the Goose Father owns. So definitely a big inspiration here. I think it looks fantastic. I'm especially loving these trapdoor based, look at that, windows is very cool. So it's like a dynamic window of sorts, but it works. It looks really good. Now, I was going to say something else about that, but I forget. Anyway, let's go on back here. You will see odd little pock marks and holes like this because we've had creepers, we've had other things going on. So this is sort of an older build, not well taken care of because of everything that's gone on. I'm very proud of this fireplace, honestly. It looks really good. So I did end up giving this structure to one of the other members on the server. The idea was that she would upkeep it and yeah, this is where I was going to keep all my food. This would be my food storage center for the most part, and she would run it basically. So Mags is her name, of course. We'll go ahead and remove that because this is no longer a multiplayer world. Before we go upstairs, I'm going to run downstairs really quick. I wanted this to be like a wine cellar. None of this is supposed to be here. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. So I wanted this to be definitely a sort of storage area. You can see the chaotic work I've done with the stone use. I think it looks really natural. I think if this were the natural terrain of Pondtown, then this would definitely be what it would look like to just carve it out of stone and maybe in places have some brick. Gosh, I didn't mean to break that one. Let's get rid of the snow. Put in some brick where needed or whatever. So, yeah, I'm proud of this for sure. The log makes it look like, I don't know, it's got a sort of mine kind of feel, which I like. So, yeah, super proud of this build for sure. Let's run upstairs. This is here because I think at one point Mags had a villager. And then after I gave it to her, she created this little habitat for her fox. Kind of cute. Weird that it's in a second story of a thing, right? But I think it works really. So more creeper damage there. She's got her dog, and I'm actually going to head and sleep real quick because it is nighttime. So yeah, I wouldn't have chosen this. I wouldn't have chosen to do this, honestly, with my build. But, everyone has their own style, and that's something to be celebrated. So, let's move on. We've got this really, I think it looks really good, this counter. So the idea was that the villager would always be like up here, and you could click on it, and trade for some food or whatever. So, yeah, that would be the one farming villager in the town, of course. All right, so moving on. Let's see, we can go into this cave next. I wanted this to feel kind of like an enchanted cave, and I was definitely inspired by... I didn't finish terraforming, as you can see, but I was definitely inspired by... There's like a pirate cave in Lego Island that is really fun and reminds me of... kind of a dark adventure kind of thing. It was very piratey. So I wanted this to be like a natural enchanting cave where community enchanting table could be used. This was actually how I found out that the bookshelves actually need to be in a certain proximity to the enchanting table. So I would have redesigned this. Obviously they're useless being such a distance from from the enchanting table, but that's all right, you know. And then down there is a second project that I was just starting at the very end of the life of this server. It's relatively unconnected to the aesthetics of Pondtown, although I was going to build the lore into it. So next, let's go over here. This is where the residential district was going to be. Now, I definitely pulled these straight off of Pinterest. These little stands for I was going to have different villagers in here to trade with, selling different things. This one was my favorite. It was definitely the most well built, but since I built it, there has definitely been a creeper attack. It was bigger, and it had 2 villagers in here trading book related items. They lived here, they slept here, all that stuff, but it did get busted up, but that's okay. If I were to get back on this world, it wouldn't be that hard to fix. So yeah, I forget, what does that say? Kramer's books, 10 emeralds, and 1 book per barrel item. Cool. So, moving on, these were the residential residential buildings. Of course, as you can see, they stick with that classic Pondtown style that I'm very proud of, having developed this aesthetic. This, I don't remember. So the general idea was that I would give or sell each one of these houses to someone on the server, one of my friends. And so each one belonged to someone else. I don't remember who owned this one. I definitely built it, but the idea was that they would customize it and everything. So down here's the basement. We've got some barrels there. I don't think this hole is meant to be here, but it would be easy to fill in if I came back to this server. So this is like the foundation of the fireplace, which is on the 2nd level. I thought using some small space, I'm really not good at using small space, so creating like a ladder instead of a staircase was kind of a challenge for me to make it look good, you know, but I think I did a pretty good job. I think it looks good. It's not definitely what I am used to doing and am used to preferring, but when I see small spaces used really well, you know, it sometimes can be preferable for me than having a big old staircase or something. It's weird how hard it is to make that look good for me, but when it is pulled off, I think it's really pulled off. So that's this first house. I'd say this is probably my favorite out of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 residential houses. Now that being said, this one was the biggest one, and I wanted this one to be mine. So more hovel-like, more Pondtown aesthetics here. If I were to restart Pondtown and build it now, I would probably use a less eclectic collection of woods. So I've got birchwood here, I've got, see all that acacia wood over there. I'd probably have chosen a subset of woods that Pondtown is known for and not veered beyond that, because this is a very diverse, it would be hard to explain in the lore why there are so many woods accessible, you know what I mean? But that's nitpick territory. Now I see a string here. Oh, it's for this fella, I think. The strings keep the vines from growing all the way to the ground. If the strings weren't there, every single vine would grow straight to the ground. So I really like the near invisible. I really don't know what that one's there for, so I'll just go ahead and break it. I really like the near invisible string stoppers, if you want to put it this way. This is a well, and I definitely was inspired by Pinterest to make it, and it does have a secret to it, as all good Minecraft wells should. We maybe can go down there later. But I'm pretty proud of this. I found well ideas on Pinterest and then Minecraftized it. I'm sorry, Pondtownized it. So yeah, I think it turned out really well. This chain is a really great element. It's almost as if there was a bucket and then it broke. I love that. If I were to make a bucket, I might use a composter or a cauldron, actually, would probably be better, and just hang it there. But this might have to be taller to accommodate the proportionate space that would take. So yeah, I'm really proud of this. I love the idea of the lore behind this town. So just creating an aesthetic and doing a bunch of lore for it is awesome. Maybe even create founding books or whatever. So yeah, all of these are going to be unfurnished, but they all follow similar design language, similar visual language. This would be the storage center, personal storage. I've got a big old storage warehouse elsewhere that we will see in this video, but this was going to be the storage center, more with that same brick use, the red and the white. It also feels kind of festive to use these two colors, which I think is awesome. So let's move on to the next house. I will go a little quicker through these houses because they do obviously follow the same patterns. This one, I wanted each one to have something unique. The first house was unique because it had the ladder into the basement. This one I feel like is unique by its size. It's the biggest one. It's like the mansion of this residential area. This one I wanted to be unique by having this freestanding fire pit kind of thing. I was really inspired by, this is kind of a thing within houses. Kind of, if you think about Dick Van Dyke Show, they have like this it's not like this, but it's like this small iron-looking freestanding fireplace thing in their living room, and that kind of made me inspired to build this. But I think it turned out really well. I think it looks good. So yeah, unfurnished, and this one actually has no basement. I think I either just didn't want to do it or just got tired of building at that point. Not overall, just for the evening or whatever. That let's go look at that chimney right there. Looks pretty good. Definitely got the idea for chimneys off of the internet. Proud of that, or not ashamed of that. Decided to use brick because I don't know, it looks very British, I will say. And then everything does have I think you'll see a lot of, maybe not everything, but I think you'll see a lot of those lightning catchers or whatever they're called. Because this house is this village is freaking made of wood. So we did turn fire spread off after a while. Yeah, there's another one over there. But I do have some fire damage in some of the buildings, or at least one of the buildings over here, which will come around. Now you'll notice all of the structures use this dark gray glass because I thought it gave it a better look, a tinted look, a sort of smoky old look, as contrasted from the regular glass, which is just too bright, too clean, too modern looking as far as Pondtown aesthetics go. Now this is definitely one of the houses I gave to my friend 5B Bassist. He got to choose out of a few. I don't think I let him choose the one I wanted. LOL. So he chose this one. Again, no basement, but it looks really good. I think that corner fireplace looks fantastic. Pardon me. I think over time I might have added a chimney. If you noticed, there's no chimney on top of this house. So, but yeah, each house also uses like a different primary wood. You've got, well, for the most part, it's not a hard rule. You've got stripped spruce. You've got mostly unstripped spruce. These two are very similar, except the birch planks are different from the oak planks over there. You've got, I think these are jungle planks. They look a little pinkish to me. And then oak and stripped oak. Dark wood over here that looks like oak. So different combinations of things. And then acacia and birch here. So it looks like none of the acacia was stripped necessarily, but we may find some. And then this one did have a basement. I forget who decided to purchase this house, but yeah, I'm rather proud of it. So yeah, that's this. Oh my goodness, I cannot use these staircases. So yeah, that's the residential district for the most part. This pond right here, I think this is one of the first ponds I made in the whole village because I was realizing that, oh, I named this place Pondtown. What does that mean? It should have ponds. So it's cool. One of the OG members of this server was getting super into commands and code and everything. So he actually had a series of portals across the world, and my portal was in the pond. So that was fun. Now, really quick, I'm going to find a bed. I'm not sure where the nearest bed is. I think I saw one in here. We're going to sleep real quick because it's becoming nighttime. That bird, I have no idea who it belongs to. Probably whoever owned this house. I have a sneaking suspicion it was Mags. I'm not sure. Oh, looks like we got some broken window here too. Gotta fix that if I ever get back on this world. Over here was going to be a sort of... I went through a few ideas for this structure. The structure itself is complete. I wanted it to be a sort of an open-air pavilion type thing. And at first, it was going to be like a tribunal. There's a big old desk here. And it was going to be like the council members of the city get to decide the fate of whatever the justice. You see the part red, part white is intentional to call to like a scale, a balance. But then I didn't like that idea very much. I didn't like how it looked, so I decided, well, maybe this would end up being an open air market pavilion, and you'd have little stands going around the place, and this would just be a market. I thought that might feel more Pondtown-esque. Never finished. Never put in the stalls, but as I said, the structure itself is finished in the sense that it's open air, and that's really what I wanted. I do like the roof on here. Definitely something I saw online. The use of campfires as roofs is just spectacular. And then let's move on. So this is the biggest water feature, definitely. This was a very late addition, but I felt like it really pulls together the different areas of Pondtown. So this bridge I think is really good. The different use of, see, you got like just some dirt and grass on the bridge to make it feel old. It's not quite as like detailed or disjointed as the dock over there, but I think it works really well as a bridge. It's going over all this water, all these water features. Again, 100% man-made. It probably looks it in places, to be honest with you, but I'm really proud of it. And then when the mangrove terrain came out, I threw in a bunch of mud and mangrove and everything. So I love it. I love it. So let's go to this next. This was going to be the potions house. This is where I was going to have the potions trader, the villager. And it doesn't read well now that it's so cluttered around with the trees and everything. But that was supposed to be a barrel kind of thing on top, and it may be more clear when we get in, but I saw this concept art on Pinterest. It was not Minecraft related, but it showed a like sci-fi bar, and above on top of the bartender's area was this giant barrel, and it looked awesome. So I emulated that style here. There's our villager. He's become the wrong occupation for some reason, but that's okay. I think, it would be easy to fix that if I decided to come back to this world. And I keep saying that, like, the idea of, like, a forever world, people are getting tired of just making new worlds all the time and leaving those projects which they created in the past, and I think that's a good impulse. I'd love to have a forever world. Right now, I'm playing Minecraft on a server called Crafters of God's Love. It's this it's a public Christian Minecraft server. They've got a YouTube channel and everything. I think I'm the only Catholic there, and sometimes it becomes noticeable to me, but for the most part, I don't get involved in any of their discussions. I just want to build something. So back on topic, I thought the introduction of copper here was really aesthetically great, and I forgot that you can't walk fast on those, and pulls together this sort of, I don't want to say sci-fi, I don't want to say steampunk, but this sort of like industrialized hovel. That's a bad way of putting it, but I think the building looks really great. I think this area could be better. You got, I guess, blocking the round, but that's okay. You got Mr. here, wanting to trade some leather with me, even though he's supposed to be a potions trader. And then the second floor was just going to be like a balcony area. I think the original idea was to have some chairs and tables up here. Very cozy. I did fill the entire big giant barrel here with water from top to bottom, and I think I made everything a source block too for water, so I just wanted it to feel real, you know. So if you noticed downstairs, it was dripping, which looks really good. And then the whole thing is actually hollow and whatever. So yeah, I really like this. I really like this build overall. If I could make it any better, I would just move this maybe to a backyard garden or something. The souls, whatever it's called, it shouldn't be in here. But that's okay. And then, you know, just some community goods, leather boots. I guess at the end of the day, I embraced the leather occupation of this poor villager who was supposed to be a potions master. Anyway, the painted or the, what do you call it? The bluish fence here works really well too. The potions, I don't know, it looks good. I'm proud of this build. Moving on, here's another stall that was going to have another trader, another villager in it. And then back here were my workshops. First of all, I'm very proud of this bridge. It looks really good. I think this was the first bridge I built on Minecraft, kind of a proof of concept, which I later expanded to that bridge over there. I did add this piston here because I was also using boats, and you'll see later more pistons. I was using boats to get villagers into their respective places. It turns out, by the way, if you have a boat on this compressed dirt here, you cannot get it onto grass, which was super frustrating. But, you know, in the end, aesthetics win. Now, back here are my warehouses. I'm very proud of these builds. These are probably my favorite buildings here. Open air. One side is a storage center. The other side is, you know, what do you call it? A tool center or whatever. So I would come in here, do a lot of refining, do a lot of crafting. You know, I wanted it to feel very lived in. There's my stone cutter, which still does not give you damage by standing on it, even though it should. I've got a few basic machines here, automatic, whatever, you know. So that's cool. This was solely designed for the purpose of destroying items that I didn't want, so I would just throw them in, boop, and never have to worry about them again. So loom, I never even used that. Anyway, here's the storage center. Roof, as you can see, was all campfire and yeah, open air, the fences. I just love this. There's some more terraforming there, really trying to sell the idea that these stones are native to this area. Obviously, I had some sorting to do. As we took over this server, it went from probably at most 20 different users at the height of the server to the core group of 3 people left. So we literally looted and divided spoils of everybody's bases among ourselves. If I were to rejoin this world as a sort of perma-world single player thing, I would definitely choose to like delete every item that I have and start from scratch, because it's not fun to me just to have access to everything all the time, you know? That's basically just a stinted creative mode and not really a survival mode. You don't get a break from building to create to go on adventures to gather resources. So, that being said, let's go back to the aesthetic talk. Here's the outside. I did want to have some machines back here. I wanted to hide a automatic sorting system in the wall back there and make it to where I could just drop everything in some chests, like right here or whatever, and it would automatically sort them. But I never figured out how to do that, mostly because I never wanted to take the time to do that or to rip out that delightful terraforming I did. So that was definitely going to happen if I continued in this world. Just didn't happen right away, or didn't end up happening. So that's these buildings. They're definitely connected by those logs on top. I think it's great. Let's move on here. And really quickly, this is where I was literally getting the villagers, it's quite funny. But it was a process, man. So moving on. Back here is going to be my pens. I had a bunch of different habitat looking things here. Same kind of wall I'm very proud of. This was where I kept my pigs. Now I've got 5 or 6 of these habitats, and one for each animal, and each one has a different tree. So this is where I kept my spruce tree. Before I show you the rest, there's another structure up here. Oh yes, and I remember now, there was some damage to the chicken pen, so the chickens are roaming free. Free range! Anyway, this structure was like a lookout tower thing. You'd have archers up here, or in the lore, of course. You would have guards up here, ready to shoot the mobs, ready to shoot the invaders. So I'm really proud of this structure. I got it from here. I'll take a good fly so we can see the. There's another one. This one was the fire damaged one. Oh, and there's a hello. So you can see use of stripped spruce with trapdoors and buttons and barrels and stuff. And I got this idea off of some concept art that was not Minecraft related. That's one thing I love doing, is finding non-Minecraft concept art and literally adapting it. So here are the rest of the pens here. You've got sheep and cows, and in the cow thing I also had my horses, and then this pathway I'm really proud of as well. Final detail of Pondtown I'll show off for today are these farms. So the farms over here I got off of an idea. They also all have different trees here. Let me do some flying so you can get an aerial view. Each one had a different plant and a different tree, and they were like floating gardens or whatever. Anybody was free to use as long as they were replanted. I did not put the lily pad path there. I was kind of against it because of aesthetic reasons, but I do understand why it's helpful. So that's all right. And yeah, so that's Pondtown. The lore behind it was really fun to develop. The buildings were really fun to create. The aesthetic, I feel like I pioneered in terms of like creating something unique. So yeah, I'm really proud of this build, and I'm excited that I have been able to show it off. Thank you so much for watching this video. If I think I will do more Minecraft videos. Maybe I can show the project I'm working on now, and maybe I can come back and show some more uncompleted projects by me and other players on this server, or on this world. So yeah, I guess that's the video. God bless everyone. I hope you have a good one. I'll see you all next week.